VIP Hair Color Shampoo.
Hair ka natural color, pakka.
Sir, shipping is not anything new to India, sir. Ancient India has had documented several kingdoms which have had trade routes where they have traveled to seas, through the seas. They have traveled to several countries abroad, like countries like Indonesia, China and Rome. And from the ports of Pumbuhar and Arikamedu in Tamilnadu, we have had so much of trade relationships. And these trade relationships have been exemplified by the visit of two Chinese premiers, sir, who had visited Mahabalipuram. This shows the relationship that the ports of the southern state of Tamil Nadu, which have had in the past. The premier Zhou Enlai and Xi Jinping, they both have visited Mahabalipuram, and they show the ties which they have had during the ancient period, sir. Sir, even during the British India, there was a British India shipping company, sir, and that was playing a monopoly. And in 1906, a freedom fighter from Tamil Nadu, Vau Chidambaranar, he had started his own Swadeshi shipping company where he got two ships, and these were having trade routes from Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka. But the British government did their best to close down the company, got him arrested, and he was sentenced to 2 life terms. And he was sadly forgotten by probably most of the people. And luckily, the Thoothukudi port has been named after him, sir, which is doing an extremely good job of doing their port activities. In fact, during the Republic Day parade of in India over here, the last January, Tamil Nadu government had proposed to send a vehicle to portray all these leaders, sir. Vau Chidambaranar, Subramania Bharatiyar, Velu Nachiyar. But sadly, the government did not permit that. But probably taking advantage of this, our Honorable Chief Minister, he has made these vehicles go all over Tamil Nadu and exemplifying their role in the freedom struggle, sir. In fact, Subramania Bharati, regarding the shipping, he has even sung a song where he has said, Velli Pani Malayin Meedu Lavuvom, Adi Melai Kadal Murudum Kappal Viduvom. It translates to, we'll stroll on the snow-clad mountains and seafare on the high seas. So he has been another freedom fighter who, through his poems, has kindled the interest right from children to adults about the freedom struggle, sir. So the earlier speaker was talking about the amount of growth which has been happening in the ports. He was saying that the amount of development which has happened in the last 7 years, I probably have to agree with him. But the question I have is, how much of these are happening through the government ports and how much of these are happening through private ports? In fact, if you take the statistics and see, you will find that the Adani Port Special Economic Zone is the one which is having the highest amount of growth. So all the statistics, the earlier honorable member from Mangaldoy, he had spoken. I would like to really question how much of that has come to the Indian government. Because if you see the amount of money which is being spent for the Sagar Mala project, the proposed expenditure is almost 6 lakh crores. And they have claimed that there are so many projects which are going to be implemented. But sadly, the ports which are there in Chennai, there are 2 government ports. One is the Madras port and the other is the Ennur port, Kamarajar Ennur port. So both these ports are operating only in the range of about 40 to 60% capacity. And just a few kilometers away from this port, we have Krishnapatnam Adani port. Sir, for this port, they have given a proposal to the government of India where they want to increase it to 3 times. So this is a project which involves acquiring about 6,000 acres of land. 6,000 acres they are going to acquire, 2,000 acres from reclaiming from the sea, 2,000 acres from the marshlands, and 2,000 acres which belongs to the private people. So they are planning to acquire this and give it to one particular person. And there are so many issues in expanding this port because adjacent to this Krishnapatnam port, there is a Pulikat lake. So environmental clearances cannot be provided for this, but somehow this project is being proposed and mooted by the government to benefit a single individual, sir. So this is totally unfair because not only will it affect the ecology over there, it will also affect the fishermen over there whose livelihood is at stake. So when you are claiming that there is so much of growth, I understand development is good and growth is good. but should it be happening to an individual private sector and rather than for the government of India and for the country? So similarly, the earlier speaker also spoke about the 7,500 kilometer coastline which we have and how best we can utilize this to enhance our economy. No doubt we can do that, but how many new ports major ports have been constructed in the past? Because this project has been implemented from 2015 to 2035. That is 20 years. Already 7 years are passed. Almost 33% of your time is gone. But how much of development has happened? If you look at the budget allocation for this ministry, they have given 2,244 crores, out of which 750 crores is the capital expenditure, sir. So when you're talking about a 6 lakh crore project, like the Sagarmala project, and you are saying that the capital expenditure is only about 750 crores, I'm wondering how long is it going to take for us, whether it's going, even by 2050 or 70 also, whether the Sagarmala project will be completed. So I would like to urge the government to take steps to ensure that the Sagarmala project be taken up in this current year itself with a lot bigger allocation. The reason why I say that is, after a pandemic, whenever there is a pandemic or whenever there is a recession, it is ancient traditions, or even kings those days, they used to build roadways and temples and all those things during recession or during a drought so that the people can be employed and probably your labor also can come out much cheaper. So taking up all these projects, be it road project or railway project or shipping projects, all these things, if the government can give a little bit of push, the huge unemployment which is being faced in this country can be mitigated to a certain extent. So I hope that the government will look into that and ensure that the port activity are taken up at a fast track pace. And also talking about the waterways, 14,500 kilometers of inland waterways we have. And the previous speaker had said that the previous government had only 5 national waterways, whereas now there are 111 national waterways which have been announced. I would like to say that the National Waterways 4, which connects Andhra, Tamilnadu and Pondicherry, it is running for about 1,000 odd kilometers, sir. But even a DPR, I don't think has been made ready for the project yet. I would like to ask the Honorable Minister, because several times I have written to the Inland Waterways Authority of India, asking them about the status of the National Waterways 4 project, which will be a huge benefit for the 2 states of Andhra and Tamil Nadu and also the Union Territory of Pondicherry. So I would urge the government to ensure this National Waterways is implemented at the earliest. The work should be started and completed at the earliest. So this will not only help in this period of unemployment. The other thing, the main reason why we want this is, whenever you're talking about transportation, it is a known fact that shipping is the cheapest mode of transport. If it costs you, say, roughly 50 paise to transport a ship, the cost of transporting it by road or rail is twice or even 4 times higher. So that way, the cheap mode of transport should be utilized and should somehow be made possible, and this benefit should come to our state. So I hope really that this government will look into it, sir. And also the previous speaker was talking about several bills. I would also like to talk about a bill where the maritime bill, this is something which is against fishermen. The fishermen in my state, and I'm sure the fishermen in Kerala also, will find that the new maritime bill, there is a proposal which is, I don't know, I mean, like, I've been told about this, I've been reading in the media, where they say that the fishermen are going to have licenses which are going to become expensive and punishments which up to imprisonment. Sir, fishermen are like agriculturists, sir. They are, in fact, they are probably a little bit more. They are doing something like a farming in the sea, laying their lives at risk. So there were so many people who have gone fishing and who have died. And even recently there was an incident where Tamil Nadu fishermen had gone and they were stranded in Burma during the cyclone, and we had to bring them back, and they had gone through such a horrible period in the sea. And they are the ones who have put India on the map, being the second largest fishing nation in the world. So when they have done so much, I don't think it is fair that the government is proposing to bring in a bill where they are going to be making their jobs and lives more difficult by passing this bill. So I hope that the government will look into this and ensure that the fishermen are taken into consideration, sir. And regarding this Adani port, this Kattupalli port, sir, the reason why they are expanding to such an extent, when adjacent ports, Madras port and Ennur port, both are operating only at 40 or 50% capacity. So when the capacity is so low, why is it that a private enterprise is being promoted to grow to 3 times, 300% growth, with giving about 6,000 acres of land, 4,000 of which is government's? Why is the government giving the land? So I would like to make sure that this port is not given clearance, and I would like to ensure that the environmental impact assay should be done and proper care should be taken. And even the people over there, they are claiming that their consultations are not being held, where they are not called, they are poorly informed, and they are planning to have a consultation. And we have been insisting on the local collector over there to ensure that the meeting should be held fairly, where everybody's views should be taken into consideration. And if that is done, nobody will give a sanction for this, and I hope that the government will listen to reason and stop this project, sir. Thank you very much.
VIP Hair Color Shampoo.
Hair ka natural color, pakka.